Today's video provides an overview of grants in the series system, including basic setup and how they function. There are two types of grants used in series. Agency grants are applied to offset the cost of products shipped on agency orders, helping reduce the expense passed on to agencies. Purchase grants, on the other hand, are used to record the cost associated with purchases made through purchase orders. These costs can be captured on the PO lines by using items or by entering a general ledger account. Starting with the list of available grants in our test database, we will begin by reviewing purchase grants. The Apply To column indicates whether a grant is designated for agencies or purchases. From the list, let's select the purchase grant, located at the bottom of the screen to begin our review. Here we have a grant card open for review. This particular grant is a purchase grant, which can be identified by the Apply To field. In the General section, you will find basic information about a grant, including the grant number and description. You can also associate identifying details such as a name or address with the grant. In series, a grant is only available for use once it has been released. After release, the system uses the effective date to determine when the grant becomes available, and the expiration date to define when it is no longer valid. These dates can be updated at any point during the life of the grant. When multiple grants are available and meet the same criteria, the system uses the priority field to determine which grant should be applied first. In the General section, you can see the current grant balance. To the right, additional grant statistics are available for review. When text appears in a different font color, it indicates that the field is interactive. Clicking it will drill down to display more detailed information. The remaining address and contact fields are available for information only. In the Posting section, you can define default values for department, program, and funding. The Grant Posting Group is a key field that determines how the grant posts to the general ledger. Selecting the Grant Posting Group allows you to drill down and view the available options. In today's example, there are 3 posting options available. To view the details behind these options, click Select from Full List. On this screen, you manage how the grant posts to the chart of accounts based on the selected Grant Posting Group. Now, let's return to the grant card. Grants has a feature available called Brackets, which is accessed from the ribbon. Brackets are utilized when you would like to cover a portion of an expense. Selecting a bracket code that has been established by the food bank will apply the funding percentage to the expense. Also available from the ribbon is Calc Methods. This is a technical setup to determine how series calculates the grant. There are standard calculations available to select from, and custom calculations can be defined to address unique or complex needs. Qualifiers can be utilized to limit where a grant can be applied. In our example today, this grant has a qualifier of WWH purchase. In order for this grant to apply to a purchase, the vendor must have the same qualifier applied to the vendor card. If qualifiers are not applied, this grant will be available to use with any vendor. By selecting Related Information and Grant, we can review the grant ledger for this grant. From the journal, we see each transaction that has occurred. Initially, the grant was funded for $10,000. Next, let's review an agency-related grant. There are 2 types of agency grants: allocated grants and bucket grants. Allocated grants have reserved amounts assigned to specific agencies. Bucket grants are available to any qualifying agency. The same options available with purchase grants also apply to agency grants. This includes brackets, calculation methods, and qualifiers. Additionally, you can specify whether the grant should apply to delivery charges incurred by the agency. We have discussed the basic options available when setting up a grant. Now let's see grants in action on purchase orders and agency orders. Let's start by reviewing a purchase order. For our review today, we will be looking at an existing order. When creating a purchase order, the process is consistent with standard PO entry until you reach the grant number field. There are two ways to apply a grant to a purchase order. The first option is to leave the grant number field in the header blank and assign a grant to each individual line, allowing different lines to use different grants. The second option is to select a grant in the PO header, which will automatically apply that grant to all lines on the order. We can select any grant available in the drop-down to apply to this purchase order. The grant configuration discussed earlier determines what grants are available in the drop-down. Let's enter a line into the purchase order now. We add the item number that will be purchased. Next, we enter the purchase quantity. If we scroll to the right of the line, we can see the line total is $5,660. The grant selected in the header was automatically applied to the line, and $5,234.64 was applied to the grant. The difference in amounts is due to insufficient funds remaining on the grant to cover the full purchase. Ceres automatically manages the available grant balance, ensuring only the remaining eligible amount is applied. Let's go to an agency order now and review agency grants. From our search box, we go to Agency Orders. Again, we will be opening an order that is already started. One key difference is that agency orders do not include a grant field. Instead, Ceres automatically assigns any available grants based on the rules and priorities configured for each grant. Let's take a look at how this works with our agency order example. We begin by adding our item number. Next, we enter the quantity to order. Let's look at the grant columns for this line. Notice a grant allocation amount is showing. In the total section of this order, you can see the overall order amount, the total amount that is covered by grants. And because the grant covers the full amount, the order total after applying grants is 0. If we want to see what grant was applied, we drill down on the grant amount. Here we see 2 grants were selected to cover this expense. This is completed automatically based on the rules applied to the grant. If we determine we don't want to apply a grant to this expense, the grant application can be removed. We go to Line, Functions, and select Unapply Grant. Now the grant amount has been removed. The Grant Unapplied box was checked, signifying a grant is available but not used. The same steps to unapply the grant can be followed to reapply the grant allocation. This concludes our review of grant management in Ceres. Thank you for reviewing the grant module with us today.